Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to Dr. Hamzah and our fellow classmates. So we are from group 7 consisting of me, Shazana Aqilah, Rajina Azreen and Qiestiena Aliya Faiezi. And in this video, we will discuss about our answer to question number 7. So a method that can be used to prove that sleep characteristics are genetically inherited is by conducting a prospective research study using twin pairs, whereby the sleep behaviors of those twin pairs consisting of both monozygotic and dizygotic twins are investigated through a series of sleep-related questions. So the investigated twin subjects are conditioned to have normal health, so that to prevent the inclusion of any possible genetically mutated individual from affecting the results. So the outcomes of the correlations between the sleep characteristics and genetics will then be evaluated via statistical approach based on the data obtained from the questionnaires. So the reason as to why we use monozygotic and dizygotic twin pairs is because they permit us to make presumptions about the etiology of sleep behavior by comparing the monozygotic twin pairs whose genetic makeups are 100% identical to the dizygotic twin pairs whose genetic makeups are 50% identical. So this actually allows geneticists to estimate the extent of influences contributed by genetics and environmental conditions on the sleep traits by looking at the monozygotic to dizygotic ratio. Besides that, it also provides the information on the possible pleiotropic property of the genes that control sleep behavior on other sleep-unrelated phenotypes and how the genes and the environments that control sleep behavior may affect each other. So consequently, with the availability of such information, the identification of specific genes that control sleep-related phenotypes could be achieved. And finally, twin studies also permit the study of heterogeneity of sleep-related abnormalities by studying the heritability of these genes in subtypes and subpopulations, as well as it aids in understanding the complex interaction between genetic and environmental influences on the sleep-related phenotypes.
My name is Binti Iskandar, and I will proceed with the twin study methodology. So in twin studies that investigate the genetic influence of sleep behaviors, researchers such as Madrid Valero and his research team in 2018 and 2019 provided questionnaires which is named as the Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index, or PSQI. And a few examples of the questions are, during the past month, how many hours of actual sleep that you get at night? And also, during the past month, how long does it usually take you to fall asleep? So a score range of 0 to 3 will be given to each of the questions, in which 0 indicates the best sleep quality and 3 indicates the worst sleep quality. And a sum of the scores will be assigned as the global score. The data from the PSQI questionnaires will be subjected to analysis, or specifically known as the structural equation modeling. So structural equation modeling will decide the combination that best fit the observed data, and the data will be subjected to ACE or ADE models. According to Snyder and McGregor in 2006, structural equation modeling allows the estimation or quantification of the relative contributions of either genetic influence or environmental influence to the trait of interest, or in this case, the sleep behaviors. The decomposition of the variants of the phenotype or the sleep behaviors are 2 genetic components and 2 environmental components. The first genetic component is the additive genetic influence, or known as A. And this occurs due to the additive effects of individual alleles at each locus that contributes to the trait of interest or the sleep behaviors. And the second genetic component is the dominant genetic influence, or D, that occurs due to the non-additive effect of alleles at the same locus or at different loci that contributes to the sleep behaviors. The first environmental component is the common environmental influence, and this might occur due to the same parenting styles, such as similar wake-up time. And the second environmental component is the non-shared environmental influence, and in which this might influence the twins or the family members to act differently. So from the diagram, we can actually see that the latent factors are represented in circles and are connected to the squares, which is described as the phenotypes or the sleep behaviors. So what is actually latent factors? Latent factor is a factor that cannot be observed directly but can only be observed through their effects on observable factors. So this means that A, C, D, and E cannot be observed directly but can only be observed through the data that we obtain from the questionnaires. The estimation of the genetic components A and D can be done as monozygotic and dizygotic twins possess different correlation degrees of genetics, but they share similar correlation degrees of the shared and non-shared environmental influence. And the estimation of E, or the non-shared environmental influence, can be done as it can only occur due to the different or unique environmental situations. In addition, the estimation of the additive genetic influence, or A, can also be done by assuming that the C and E, the shared and non-shared environmental influence, are similar, and if there is any excess similarities between the monozygotic and dizygotic twins, this might occur due to the greater proportion of shared genes between the monozygotic twins. The estimation of the shared environmental influence, or C, can be done when there is a difference in the correlations between the monozygotic twins, and also to the estimated effect of A, or the additive genetic influence.
In the mid of 1920s, twin studies have started to evolve after the remarks on the twins' resemblance being made by Francis Galton in 1875. Since then, the interest in using twin study method to determine the correlation between hereditary of certain traits such as sleep behaviors with the influence of genetics and environmental factors started to increase. There are a lot of longitudinal studies on a population for a certain period of time has been done to demonstrate these interactions. Along with that, meta-analysis also being done by the researchers to gather evidence on the heritability of sleep behaviors. According to the findings from the twin studies, the heritability of the sleep behavior based on measures such as sleep quality and sleep duration may vary slightly between samples based on their age, gender, geographic locations, and also comorbidities. However, a common trend still can be observed in which the heritability of these measures is usually found to be about 30% to 50%. For sleep quality, Hess et al. 1990 reported that the difference in genetics accounted for at least 33% of the variance in the sleep quality based on a sample from adult Australian twin pairs aged from 17 to 88 years old. Based on a study by Madrid Valero et al. 2018 on the middle-aged twin sample from Spain, it was found that genetics accounted for 34% of the heritability. This finding is also consistent with the previous study conducted by Janderson et al. 2013. Meanwhile, from a meta-analysis, it was found that 44% of the variability in sleep quality is determined by the genetic factors. In addition, according to Buckley and Gregory 2013, the genetic influence on the sleep duration becomes more significant as the age increases. It was discovered that there were no genetic effects on the sleep duration was found among the twin pairs between 6 to 8 years old, whereas among the young adult twin pairs aged from 16 to 18 years old, it has a moderate influence on their genetics. The variation in heritability between age groups also being reported by Qiestiena et al. 2021. In the meta-analysis, it was reported that the overall heritability was estimated to be around 46%, while the remaining 54% accounted for the unique environmental factors. To conclude, as the method has been applied for more than 100 years ago, it can be presumed that it is well established to be applied in proving the hypothesis of sleep behavior heritability. This twin study can be considered as the best methodology to study the heritability of sleep behavior, as it enables us to observe both genetics and environmental influence on the subject.